Janna too, we are in, I think, somewhat privileged position because we, as novelists, right, don't just get to inhabit our own subjectivity, but other subjectivities. And I can't begin to tell you how powerful and weird this is. When you're creating a character, it's all different, right? It's all, so I find it a useful way of making discoveries. And in fact, one of the discoveries I've made has been adopted in certain branches of psychology, and it was a discovery I made when I was writing my very first book, The Mind-Body Problem. And my editor said to me when he read the first draft, you know, this woman is beautiful, she's very, very smart, she's got everything, and she's so miserable. She is so unhappy. Why is she so unhappy? And I thought about that, and she was very unhappy. You know, I could tell, because somehow or other we were merged. Not that it was autobiographical. And I thought, well, she doesn't feel like she matters. She's got, so that and to me that was somehow very revelatory. That underneath this idea of flourishing, it seems to me, is this idea of mattering, of you know, and then I came to this idea, and this is the one that's been adopted by certain branches of psychology. It's a theoretical construct that came from a novel of different the mattering map with different zones of mattering, and you know, in her world, being very, very smart mattered a great deal, and you know, other worlds, you know, dressing well matters a great deal. They're all different mattering zones, and if you inhabit a mattering zone in which you don't matter, or your mattering is in doubt, you're not flourishing. You're just not flourishing, and that seems to me an interesting thing, and it also to me shed light on the question that I often get, and I think all of us get here, those of us who have come out as atheists. How does your life have any meaning? And I think, well, what are you talking about? I don't even understand. And it was that there was a way in which it was assured under the monotheistic paradigm that we all mattered. You know, we're made in the image of God, we matter, we're being judged in everything we do. It's kind of terrifying because there's this cosmic approval and disapproval that you're bathed in constantly, but you sure as hell matter. And that's removed now on a secular in a secular world, in a naturalist world. You don't get that kind of assurance, that kind of guarantee of mattering.
I think that's very important. I'm glad you raised it. You know, Richard and I are often challenged on this score. And with a very important point, people say, well, look at your lives. You have so many reasons to be gratified. You've had great adventures, great success, you know, but most people can't live lives like that. And what about the lives of everybody else? The fact that you don't need religion, big deal. And I think, in fact, this problem now gets sort of worse around the world because of the information age. And people see on television and in movies and everywhere they see heroic lives. They see lives that matter. They see lives that have meaning. And whether it's the police procedural, whether it's the clever detective that saves the life of somebody, or whether, you know, and there's religion saying, you want to matter? We can make you matter. Join our army. Become onward Christian soldiers. And it's an extremely tempting offer. And there you are, you're pumping gas at the crossroads and wondering what the heck your life's all about. And if somebody comes along and suggests that your life could have drama, could have significance, that you could be a sort of hero, wow, jump at it. And I think what we have to do as naturalists is really work positively to think of secular projects, secular campaigns, secular communities, secular organizations that will give people ways of mattering if they don't already have them. And that's something that religion does, I'm afraid, very well. And we should try to replace it. We really should make it one of our goals to find secular alternatives to crusades.
That's the irony, right? Because we've replaced mattering because we're created in God's image with perhaps. I also love just the word mattering is very crucial here. That mattering to other people, and it goes along with Aristotle's idea that we all want to have friends. Very plausible basis for why we have meaning in our lives as secularists, and yet the evolution of a secular society has decreased the opportunities for this kind of social interaction that makes us matter and helps us matter. And I don't, I'd be happy to endorse the call for organizations and so forth. I'm very unclear how to make that happen in reality as a programmatic matter, how to have an organization that in a secular context plays that role, that the community building role that religion had.
Robert Putnam, Dan may know Robert Putnam, but he was at this conference at Jeffrey Sachs's place in Columbia, and he wrote this book called Bowling Alone, which I haven't read, but it's a very compelling title of this, maybe the state of the American community. And he was interesting at this conference because I'd heard it reported that he was one of these guys who says that going to church on almost all measures is better for people's well-being. This is related to Dan's point. But at this particular conference, he said, now that they've sort of culled all the data, it has nothing to do with belief in anything. It just has to do with that you're not bowling alone.
Yeah.
And this is exactly Dan's point.
Yeah.
This is the crucial point. It is very Aristotelian about needing ways to have secular communities.